tangents, and this time around we get the politicians in the conversation. So I do have the ranking on health committee in parliament, the honorable Mintah Akandoh, who is also the member of parliament for Joboso, on the line. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm managing.
Great.
I'm surprised you're doing well under Akufo-Addo administration.
I'm also managing.
Fantastic.
Honorable, I saw the statement that was signed by you somewhere last night. In one breath, you say that you are happy that our young men are going to be finding jobs. In another breath, you made reference to what happened ahead of the election in 2020, and you say that this is only political gimmicks. Why?
Okay, so what's your name, Madara?
My name is Kwame Jumajimai.
So, Kwame, we are running a country, not a Ponzi scheme. And every decision a government takes must have positive impact on the people in the country and not to coincide with the partisan political interests of the party in power. And it looks as though the NPP government has always been running the country with tricks. Why do I say so? Under normal circumstances, as I stated in my statement, giving employment or doing recruitment is good news, very good news to recruit people. But let's look at how they do it. Let me even put aside the backdoor machinations and the backdoor recruitment. We'll come to that one. Before the 2016 elections, the NPP made a lot of noise about the recruitment in the health sector. When they were given power, in 2017, they never bothered to do any recruitment. 2018, no recruitment was done. 2019, no recruitment was done. Then they waited until November, December 2020 in the election year and gave clearance as they have done now. Now, when they gave the clearance, they then indicated that anybody they will recruit, that will take effect after the elections. I didn't come out to speak. I didn't criticize it. I thought, well, no problem. Maybe it's a coincidence. So I let it go. Now, in 2020, no recruitment. 2021, no recruitment. 2023, no, 2022, 2023, no recruitment. Then, 4 months election in 2024, bingo, another one comes.
Maybe this is also a coincidence.
How can that be a coincidence? In any case, that has never been the practice. That has never been a practice. Okay? So you wait when everybody, this unemployed nurses association has been talking all this while. You don't mind anybody. You just go and handpick your favorite ones, and behind the door, you just smuggle them into the system and you leave everybody. And so, if we all think as a country that that's the best way to go, so be it. I'm a politician. I'm looking at what's happening. If it works for the NPP and if that's what Ghanaians want, fine. If politicians or leaders of this country must not do recruitment yearly basis, or must do it every 4 years, let's say so. Let's all say so. So this attitude, this behavior of waiting until election year before a government does anything is unacceptable. And it's about time the people of this country punish us as politicians so that we will learn our lessons.
Honorable, this employment can only be done subject to financial clearance. Is there a chance?
If they have been able to give financial clearance today, why couldn't they give yesterday? Why? Why couldn't they give in 2020? Why couldn't they give in 2021, 2022, 2023?
Maybe funds were not available.
Give the clearance only 4 months to election, as they repeated in the past. It doesn't make sense. Let us not justify this. Don't even play the devil's advocate when it comes to this. It doesn't make sense. Let us all condemn it so that I will learn a lesson from it. So, if you start bringing the maybe, we will continue on the maybe path, which will not help our country. We will all continue traveling on the maybe path, and that will not, because somebody who competed in 2020 today must have been working for the past 3 years. You've deprived the person for the past 3 years. And now 4 months in elections, you want everybody to clap for you. You think you are smart and you are doing this, so nobody will actually know what you are doing. This is not a nation building. We can't behave like this. It's unacceptable. It's highly unacceptable.
Well, at this point, the portal should be open in the next few days, and 15,200 would get the opportunity. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that all of these 15,200 people are going to be swayed by this act of government to, if you like, be looking in the direction of government come election day. They can make up their minds.
Well, that's all I'm doing. In fact, at this point, anybody who loves Ghana, including you, if you get the suspicion that even if a single person wants to vote for NPP, you must be alarmed and you must be worried, given what we find ourselves in at this moment. But I pray that this one will not hoodwink or sway anybody to vote for the NPP. Because even after the recruitment, the responsibility will be on John Dramani Mohammed's government. That is what it is. Even after the recruitment, the responsibility will be on His Excellency John Dramani. You know, they did a similar thing with respect to the single spine salary structure when Professor Mills assumed power. You've forgotten?
I remember.
Very good. That's a similar one they are doing. But I don't have a problem about that. The problem I have with that culture, with that precedent, I think is bad. It must not be tolerated. How many times haven't I spoken about, nurses unemployment in this country? Can you count? When I check all my press conference and press releases and my debate on the floor of the House, I have consistently, and even questions. Look, as I speak to you now, people who have completed their rotation have even not been paid their allowances. As I speak to you now, the doctor and pharmacists who have some allowances they must be paid, they have also not been paid. As I speak to you now, there are some health workers who embarked on strike action that they even not had anybody to call them to sit down and then even listen to why they went on strike. As I speak to you now, and you are thinking about how new people will vote for you in an election year. What an irresponsible government.
Again, Honorable, let me just ask. We've had a lot of conversations about youth unemployment in this country. A lot of these nurses, I am sure, might fall between the ages of plus or minus 22 to 35 and would fall into that conversation. If we are getting 15,200 off the unemployment conversation, if it's even one day to the election, like you guys always say, governance is a continuum. Wouldn't that be great?
I'm saying that recruitment or job employment is a good thing. Why not? But I have told you the trajectory. I have established the precedence to you. And I'm saying that this behavior is not good governance. And we must stop. Look, people, if you go to rural areas, there are feeder roads that have been left for the past 8 years, unattended to. 4 months to elections. Now we have gone to buy graders and dozers just for political idiosyncrasies. Months to elections, you hear all manner of schemes. Oh, we are coming to give you loan. Oh, we are coming to recruit wooden gangs. So we will recruit you and pay you. Immediately after elections, all these things are dissolved. Why are we deceiving our own people? Just because of elections. So it's our responsibility as Ghanaians, as a journalist, to speak for the voiceless, to educate the masses, to draw the people's attention to critical issues. That's exactly the conversation we are having at the moment. It's not as though I am saying that people must not be recruited. Far from that. If you read my statement, just like you yourself indicated, that in one breath I'm saying that it is good, and that's black and white, clearly stated. I have said that this is, long overdue. But look at how they've been doing it for the past years. It doesn't augur well.
You're worried that this is taking a political tangent?
Yes, that's all. Why must a nation building, or why must somebody's destiny be tied to a partisan interest? Somebody has completed nursing training colleges for the past 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. He's still at home. He hasn't got a job. In fact, some of them as far back even 7 years, 6 years, they haven't gotten a job. You are waiting till election year before you do this. Let's all face it. It's not. Look, if you think that every year you can even do 4,000 every year, you just do your 4,000, and then every year, we will not be having this conversation. So what it means is that 4,000 that was recruited, let's say 3 years ago, would have been working for the past 3 years. That's what it means. So even if you don't have the money to recruit 15,000 every year, and even if it's 5,000 you can recruit, why not your 5,000? That's the point I'm making.
The elections is coming up in December, and your party is going to be on that ballot paper. How different would you be if you get a nod from government? If you get a nod from us, sorry.
Just like when we were in government, we never waited for 4 years before recruitment. So every year, it must fix into a certain framework. So every year, there will be recruitment. If we are unable to recruit all, it should be an alternative plan. We may have to have a conversation for export. But what is important is that we must satisfy all our health facilities in the country. If we still have excess, can we link up with another country to export the excess for the country to get some kind of revenue, and for the people to also be gainfully employed? If the answer is yes, why not?
Subject to funding, of course.
Is it?
I said subject to funding, of course.
Of course, why not? Subject to funding, but it depends on your priority, of course. It depends on your priority. Were we not digging holes, the most expensive hole in the world? That was our priority, cathedral. Do you know how much money was sunk into that hole? So it's a matter of priority. Even when we were at IMF, we were still recruiting nurses. Have you forgotten? Before 2016 elections, 2012 we did, 2013, 2014, 2015. The only backlog was 2016 when we left power. That was the only backlog. So we've done it before, even in the middle of difficulties. So it's a matter of priority. If you don't prioritize your health sector, then what are you prioritizing?
Are you suggesting this government is not prioritizing the sector?
That is a sector they don't even care about, because they have the money to attend the most expensive hospitals in the world. They don't care about it, because I have told you that people have finished their rotational duties and yet have not been paid their allowances. I have told you, even this recruitment, there are thousands of medical doctors at home. Medical doctors at home. Pharmacists at home. It's only touching on nurses and midwives. There are other health workers at home. At home. If you look at the attrition rate, you will also be shocked. You will be shocked, the attrition rate. And there's hopelessness in the health sector. Hopelessness. So they have not prioritized the health sector. This one, you don't need to even think twice before you say it.
Well, you are the ranking, so you play a very key role for your party as well. I mean, on the back of what happened in Tamale, I get the impression that healthcare is also going to be one huge conversation ahead of the election. We have an idea what the NDC did when they were in government. Have you been impressed with the noises coming in from the quarters of your major opponents ahead of the election? Agenda 111, investment in the health sector, provision of facilities here and there. Have you been impressed with what the NPP has done in the last 7.5 years?
What have they done? Tell me what they have done.
They make a lot of noise about Agenda 111.
Agenda 111. So have you seen 111 hospitals built? You have seen it?
They say there are different stages of completion.
I said this right from day one, and I've spoken to you, Plus FM, on that. That was a strategy. I told you, go and play my voice with my conversation on this matter. Right from day one, I told you that these people have not set out to go and build 111 hospitals anywhere. So what they're going to do is that they will try and complete about 10, 20, 30 of them and tell you that the rest are at various stages of completion, so vote for us. That was the strategy right from day one. And I've said this on countless occasions. That's a strategy. That's a strategy. So please, I am not surprised. I am not. There are projects that they inherited, and for the past 7, 8 good years, they have not completed. They haven't completed some of them. Go to Kumawu and see if they've completed Kumawu. How many years ago? Go to Kumawu and find out if Kumawu has been completed and commissioned. So, please, no matter what they will do, irrespective of these tricks, they are going back to opposition. They can do their worst. They are going back to opposition.
Have you seen what Akandoh has done at UHAS in the last 24 hours? We lost the order with the conversations on the phone. Earlier on, we had Mintah Akandoh, and I understand that we do have the Honorable Mintah Akandoh back on the line, but we've also been joined by Dr. Dixon Adumaku-Kwesi. He was here about 2 weeks ago, who is also a member of the Health Committee on Parliament. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you so much for joining us. Are you hiring these nurses because of the elections? Your opponents are accusing you of that.
First of all, let me say a very good morning to your listeners, and greetings to Honorable Akandoh, who is a ranking member on health. And let me be very categorical that I'm at a loss with the minority, because, I mean, the finance minister just came to Parliament and expressed the very key thing that in an election year, everything that we planned for last year, we're going to try to stick with it and not derail the budget as proposed. And if there's anything new or surprising through the NDC, me myself, I'll be shocked, because these are things we arranged for prior to date. And I think that if it is coming into reality, we should all be happy about it and be, I've been pleading with the NDC to be responsible opposition. And in being responsible, I think that if the youth need jobs and they are being offered jobs, I mean, we shouldn't be a hindrance to the process. And we should welcome the idea that Finance Ministry or Minister has made provision for our youth.
Doctor, in the statement,
now being employed.
Doctor, in the statement released by the NDC, they make it very clear that it is not a case of being unhappy about our youth getting jobs, but you're unhappy with the timing because a similar thing happened ahead of the election in 2020.
Is there ever a good time to get a job? Or shall I say, I mean, when it comes to getting employed, I believe that we should see it as even a delayed opportunity. These are people who have stuck home thereabouts. And if, fortunately, this is when they are getting their employment. And I don't think this is being colored by politics. After all, 15,200, there's a statistical point that about maybe a third of them are NDC or a third of them are NPP. So, I mean, who guarantees that these 15,000 people are all NPP? What is the guarantee? You should tell me. There's no guarantee. And he knows very well that, some of the nurses are from, all the various regions. And, every political party is represented in this selection of nurses. So I'll beg with him that they are rather making politics out of it. If we had just all been quiet and appreciated the fact that government has found some space within the major constraints we have to employ 15,200 nurses, I mean, there would have been no noise. But it seems they are politicizing it.
But doctor, when it happens maybe one too many times, like we saw in 2020, and we're seeing the same trajectory repeating itself 4 years down the line, again, a few months before the election, people would have reasons to read red flags.
Are we saying that we should put a freeze on hiring because of election? Those who are sick should put their malaria off. Those who have surgeries to do should put it off because it's an election year. Is that what we're saying with health? I beg to differ. Healthcare is appropriate, and there's nothing political about health. There's one of the basic things about the NPP. We're very serious about human capital development. We're very serious about helping with infrastructure. And Honorable Akandoh knows that many medical doctors now, during the NPP time, can have further education, which was not available because of the IMF arrangement they had, during their time. And if during the NDC 2020 era, they were rather putting stop on improvement of human capital or hiring people, and we fortunately have brokered and stood our grounds with the IMF so that we can make hiring during an election year, even though we're under a very strict IMF arrangement. Then he should actually be rather commending or clapping for the NPP.
Doc, in 2020 you were in charge. The NDC was not in charge in 2020. In 2020 the NPP was in charge.
I meant 2016.
Okay,
yes,
that's fair.
2016. During the 2016 election, if I remember vividly, the IMF stopped the NDC administration. Then under the leadership of Mahama, who at the time was paying very little heed to healthcare, because I remember doctors were on strike, nurses were on strike, and he said that under the IMF rules and of engagement, they had very limited space. So if under the NPP administration we have the leeway, the opportunity to hire people who can attend to our sick old men and women, our sick children, and people in need of health care, and why should we be here? We want our SDGs to be still strong, and that should be something touted and commended by the NDC. Listen, if you're in opposition and something good is happening, it doesn't mean that everything is black. If in opposition, in fact, NPP for your dear na time here. Mine P. Everyone show me how many Sikaka Edefa Mabu Aquadremuno. Oh my idea. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. At least for one, Akandoh should join me on this, bandwagon, and let's tout the NPP. Let's clap our hands for the finance minister for making space for our nurses, who are coming to improve on our healthcare so that our SDG is strong. What do I say?
Yeah.
Please.
Hello.
Okay. Honorable Akandoh.
So can I come in now?
Yes, you had your colleague, member of the health committee.
Dr. Adomako. Hello.
Yes.
Honorable Akandoh, we can hear you.
So who is on the other line, please?
That's Dr. Adomako Kisi.
I'm surprised that he of all people is speaking the way he's speaking, and there's a lot of misinformation, and I'm
what exactly did he say that it's misinformed?
Let's have time to discuss the issues. I am sorry I'm having to go back to the conversation I had with you before and try to take things one after the other. Number one, it's a misinformation to say that during the NDC time we're not recruiting health workers. Misinformation completely. Please, you must check the 2017 budget that they themselves presented to the House. And for the records, I have stated this when I was having the conversation with you, that in 2012 there was recruitment of health workers. 2013 there was, 2014 there was, 2015 there was. The only backlog was in 2016. When we were leading power, we didn't even say because it was an election year, we had to force and do before we go. That was there were only two backlogs. One was the 2016, and two was those who had failed one or two subjects and therefore could not be posted. These were the people at home. So we never waited until 4 years before doing any recruitment. So that is a misinformation. The IMF never affected health workers in any way. Please, it's a misinformation. That's the first one. Now, secondly, what I have said is that, number one, in 2017, when they came to power, they never did any recruitment. 18, no. 19, no. In 20, you should listen and listen good. I don't speak anyhow. So please listen well and let's have a nice conversation. If we all think that that is the way a nation should be run, let's say so, and let's run it like a Ponzi scheme, just like to quote Koko Kwati. If you think that we should run our country like a Ponzi scheme and wait for an election year to satisfy our partisan interests, I have not stated anywhere that the people involved are going to be partisanly selected. That's what I said. I have said that they are doing that to satisfy their partisan interests in hoodwinking people to vote for their party. That is what I have said. Now, you waited until 2020, November, December, and you was asking when we think it's an appropriate time for somebody to get a job. If he doesn't know when it's appropriate, when it's appropriate is when the person finishes his rotation and gets employment. That is the appropriate time. When it's appropriate is the people they are seeking to clear now, to employ now, to recruit now. Even if they could not recruit all the 15,000 at a go, if they had even recruited 4,000 or 5,000 a year, somebody would have been working for the past 3 years. That is the point I'm making. And so you did it in 2020. Nobody spoke about it. Then you wait until 2024. If you could do it in 2024, why couldn't you do it in 2023? Don't they present budget every year and sit on the committee with him? Don't they? Even this year's budget was read last year in November. Am I lying? Tell me, Mr. Hood. Why are they having to do it now? Read this year's budget in November 2023. Why must you sit until 4 months to election before you implement something in 2024 budget? And the point I'm making is that, look, we have a country to run. Don't wait until you are going into an election before you pretend as if you care for the people. If you care for the people, start from day one. Because every year, we turn out health professionals. And so, it must be consistent and it must fit into a certain framework. You are comparing Dramani Mohammed's government to this Ponzi scheme government. That mistake must not be made. No. Please, my good friend. So, nobody is saying that they attempt to twist it, that we are saying that we are not happy the people are being recruited. Who said that? Read the statement well. We have even said like long overdue. The people have been crying for far too long.
So if relief has come, why worry?
It must be a precedent that must be learned by other political parties when they come to power. It's a bad one. It's a good governance.
So Honorable Akandoh, again, your challenge is the time.
Member on the committee to speak out.
Honorable Akandoh, again, your challenge is the timing and not the fact that some young men will be getting an opportunity. That's your challenge.
Listen to the conversation carefully. Listen to it carefully. The timing, one. if, and I said this before, and I'm going to repeat it, if they did it in 2020, let's say in January, 2022, February, 2023, let's say March, and they're even doing it this year in December, I don't care about the time because every year is done. My problem is depriving somebody for 3 years, 4 years, and pretending to care for the person in an election year. That's my problem. That is not a good governance. Nobody should learn this. It's a bad practice. It's a bad practice. And so we must make that endeavor, that attempt, that, okay, if we have a certain number of people being turned out every year, how many can we absorb yearly? Is it 4,000? Is it 5,000? Okay, fine. We have recruited the 5,000, 4,000. The essence, what do you do with it? How do we think outside the box? Do we have any arrangement where we can link up with other countries to export them for the country to get some kind of revenue? If the answer is yes, why not? This is good governance. Not to wait until election year, then they come and say, I'm recruiting 15,000, and so everybody must clap for me. If you can't talk about it, what it means is that you don't want people to get a job. This is cheap. If you talk about it, it means you don't want people to get jobs. Who said that?
Dr. Kisi, are you pretending to care?
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, youth are getting employment. Everybody would have wished that people get employed as soon as they finish school. That would be fantastic. But as it stands, what we have gotten, we have to appreciate it. Or shall we go crying that we've been employed? And I think that is a bit preposterous. So I'll plead with the Honorable, let's be mute on the politicizing of this, and let's appreciate our women and men getting employed, and let's move on to the next thing, and let's put pressure that more people get employed. I think that should be our focus.
If there's anybody in this country who cared about people getting employed and who have spoken about youth unemployment in the health sector, it's me and not you and not your government.
Oh, that one I don't mind. I can give that to you as long as you are pushing an agenda that I'm also interested in. Honorable. The loudness for employment is fantastic. I will give that to you.
I have consistently been raising that point. And my pain is the refusal of government to listen to my cry and to wait until election year. I have every right to criticize this decision. If anybody has that right, I think it should be me.
So delayed relief is what you are saying. Delayed employment is what you are saying.
That appears to be Honorable Akandoh's problem.
People are happy that they've gotten jobs.
In any case, nobody has gotten job yet.
Well, they are going to be applying in the next few days for these opportunities.
Let me tell you that the responsibility will even be on His Excellency John Dramani Mahamat's next government, and nobody in NPP is going to. They did a similar thing.
Well, that's as if you win the election, Honorable Akandoh. That is if you win the election.
But you, what are you talking about? Are we not going to win the election?
I don't know, Honorable Akandoh.
I think that
I don't know about
Honorable
that.
Akandoh, I think I want to join you, so that we rather go to finance and increase the numbers from 15,000 to, let's say, 20,000. That should be what I'll be very happy to join you on. Please.
And what we have been
Shall we do that?
What our records show is that we don't wait for election years before we do recruitment. That's what I want you to understand.
Well, that's fine, but can we use the opportunity to go and bargain for more?
That His Excellency John Dramani Mahamat's government will consistently, every year, while they compete...
Shall we wait for that, or can we now go? Okay. I think that, Honorable, we should rather go and plead with the Finance Ministry to expand the 15,000 to 20,000.
Anybody any favor? To plead with who? To plead with who?
Well, this is what I'm hoping we can do.
Okay. It looks like the politicians would always have their view on these issues. Depending on how you look at it.
And you begin to think like people should plead with people before they do their job.
I'm just saying that as politicians, you and I, in terms of lobbying, I'm hoping that we should rather expand. We should push finance to expand From 15,000 to 20,000. That would be fantastic.
You are not worth your salt. You are not worth your salt. Nobody is going to plead with anybody. You are not doing anybody any favor.